are going back on the record. Okay, we're back on the record, and Mr. Austin, you had a chance to consult with Mr. Laughlin?
Yes, I did.
And how are we proceeding on this?
It is my understanding, Your Honor, he will be admitting to the violations.
Is that right, Mr. Laughlin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Laughlin, as I said before, you have the right to a contested hearing. If you plead guilty, you won't have a contested hearing, and you'll give up the rights that go along with it. That includes the right to have these allegations proven, the right to have the witnesses against you appear at the hearing and to be able to cross-examine them, the right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the hearing, and also the right to testify yourself at the hearing if you wanted to. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone made any promises to get you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone used any threats or other kinds of pressure?
No, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty because you believe you did violate probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then tell me what you did to violate probation. The first one on here is pertaining to your residence.
Yeah, my fiance and I got into an argument, and she took my cell phone and kind of kicked me out. So I went and stayed at a hotel, and I didn't inform Agent Forrest of doing so. So I'm guilty of not reporting to change the address. And then on or about a certain day, I still couldn't contact him. I had no phone or no number. And I guess I could have had somebody Google it, but I was in Lansing pretty much at a slummy a hotel. So I didn't really talk with anybody. And they had one phone, and it was in the main office, but no phone book.
So you didn't check in with your agent?
Correct. I didn't report
Okay.
when I should have.
Okay. The court finds the plea is understandingly, voluntarily, and knowingly made. It is supported by the testimony. The plea of guilty is accepted. Mr. Laughlin is found guilty of probation violation. And Agent Forrest, is there a recommendation?
There is, Your Honor. I'd like to start by just notifying the court that Mr. Laughlin does have a pending charge in 55th District Court for prohibited use of a chemical agent, but that charge has not yet been resolved. As far as the violations today, when I spoke to Mr. Laughlin last week, he advised me that he's been huffing aerosol, and it sounds that was a contributing factor to the violations today. He had reached out to the House of Commons prior to being picked up for his warrant and was actually trying to seek treatment on his own behalf. But, we had to kind of take care of this matter first. Therefore, it'd be my recommendation that he be held in custody up to 45 days pending placement at the House of Commons and a 6-month extension of probation.
Okay, Mr. Austin?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Overall, I find the recommendations to be fair and appropriate. I do think this is a situation where Mr. Laughlin had a setback here by relapsing, and things just kind of spiraled from that point. But positively speaking, he did take the initiative to contact the House of Commons and was trying to get some help. The only hangup was he couldn't be admitted because he was in absconder status. But I do think it speaks volumes that he had that recognition that he needed to do something to get help, and he took positive steps towards doing that. So ultimately, Your Honor, I'm asking the court to adopt and follow those recommendations. I know Mr. Laughlin told me that he's kind of in transition now with moving. He's got some situations going on with work. He was hoping to have some time on the outside before he would have to report to residential treatment. I don't really know if that's possible given the circumstances and the situations with the pandemic, because I'm sure they're going to want him to be quarantined probably and to some degree before that transition occurs. But he did want me to mention that and bring that to the court's attention. But ultimately, I'm asking the court to adopt Agent Forrest's recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Laughlin, anything you wanted to
Yes.
say?
Like my agent Austin said, I was just wondering about handling little bit of business because my fiance is currently moving into Holt right now on the outside, and her dad's really sick with cancer, and he's not going to be around too long. So I was wondering if the courts would be willing to let me out, just so I can help with the move and all that stuff while I'm waiting for a bed and treatment. But when I talked with the House of Commons a week ago, they said that they had 2 beds available, so it shouldn't be that long for me to get in. I haven't talked with them since, but I was just hoping that the courts would find it reasonable to let me out and help with my fiance and her family before, because she doesn't really have many people helping her move stuff, Your Honor. So that was my concern, because I pretty much made her life hell. Sorry, you know, I pretty much messed up, so I really wanted to help her out. And Agent Forrest has had in contact with her a little bit. He kind of knows some of the situations, so I was just wondering if you would please think about that and maybe allow that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Laughlin, it's not really about whether the request is reasonable or not. It's about what's in your best interests. And I've got to tell you, the time to do something about this is now. There is no time for delay. There is no time for excuses, and there's no time for putting other things higher priority. This is what you need now. And I think even your fiance recognizes that. She actually wrote me a letter or an email saying how desperately she thinks you need long-term treatment. I agree with her, and I think that the best thing for you is to recognize that this has to take the #1 priority in your life right now, or you will lose all those other things, and treat it like the highest priority that it is. I'm going to continue you on probation, 45 days in jail. I'll suspend any time that remains once a bed is available and you get into the House of Commons. So if a bed's available tomorrow, all your time will be suspended, but you're going to the House of Commons as soon as possible. We'll extend your probationary period for 6 months. There's aftercare that goes along with the House of Commons. You're required to, of course, comply with all of that. And all other terms and conditions of probation will continue to apply. Mr. Laughlin, you have the right to file an application for leave to appeal your conviction and your sentence in this matter. You are entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. You don't see a stack of appellate right forms on a table in there, do you?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll send you a form that advises you of your appellate rights. But you are all set then. You can tell them at the jail that you're all done.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome.